Hello Unity devs. Today we're going to be implementing Unity's new input system into the multiplayer karting microgame we've been working on. This was requested by Ignacio 9 days ago, and so I'm going to show you how that's done. We're going to start off by opening the project we were working on last. The first thing we need to do is import the new input system package. So we're going to right click on packages down here, click on view and package manager. Then we need to make sure the package's context is set to the Unity registry. I'm going to go and fetch them all. And then I just need to type in input. And then here's the new input system, and I'll just click on install. Now that that's installed, what we're going to do is we're going to go into our project files. We're going to search for the kart game assembly definition file. And when we find this one that's called kartgame.asmdef, what we want to do is we want to add in the new input system. So if we search for input here, and then select unity.input system, double click on it, and then just click out, and then press apply. That'll go ahead and it'll apply the new Unity input system into the framework that already exists. The next thing we need to do is we need to go to our player prefab. So the easy way is to go to a network manager and find the player prefab. So I can double click on that. And now that we've got him, we want to click on the base object and we want to add in the new input manager, player input manager. And then we want to also add player input. Now what we want to do is we want to drag in the player prefab into the player input manager. Then next we want to create the actions for under player input. So we're going to make a new folder called input. We're going to save the actions there. And now we're going to work on our new inputs. Now that we're here, we're going to create some new actions. So the first one we're going to do is create one called horizontal. And the action type will be a value. Control type will be a vector2. And then we're going to make a new composite. And we're going to call it WASD. And we only want to bind left and right. So we click on left, we click on path, listen, press A, select it, and do the same for right. The path, listen, D, select it, and that's all done. And delete this one because we don't need it. And now we're going to create the next action, which is accelerate. Now we want this to be a button input. And we'll make this listen for W. That's done. And the next one we want is brake. That's also a button. Then the path to this is just going to be S. And that's all done. Now what we need to do is we need to edit the keyboard input script. So we're going to locate that in our prefab. I'm going to right click and go edit. Now with the new Unity input system, we're going to be using the events-based approach, which means that we can't really use what we've done here previously. So I'm going to get rid of this whole update block. I'm going to keep this generate input one, and we're going to clear out all of these variables. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start by creating the variables. Here's what I prepared earlier. So we're going to have an accelerate state, brake state, and turn value. So these are going to be booleans. So, you know, when you're holding W, it's going to be set to true. When you're holding S, that's going to be set to true. When you let go, they're both going to be set to false. And this turn value is going to be a float. It'll be between -1 and 1, and it'll be 0 for the middle. And then once we've done that, we're going to create our separate events. So these are going to be the 3 events that are triggered by the Unity input system. The first one is accelerate input, and this reminds me that we haven't imported the input system, so I'm going to go using Unity engine.input system. That'll fix that up. And so now we've got these events, and what we need to do is we need to change these inputs into these that we've got here, these accelerate state for the accelerate value and the brake state for the brake value. Turn input, we're going to use the turn value. So that script's all finished now. So we need to go back to our project, and now we need to go back to our project, go back to our player prefab, and now we need to assign all of those events. So we're going to go to player input, change it from send messages to invoke Unity events. Then click this drop down, go to player, and the first one's horizontal. So we're going to press plus, going to drag in our player, and then we're going to change this to keyboard input. It was turn input, which is what we're mapping to horizontal. Accelerate, going to do the same sort of thing. Accelerate, then brake, to do the same thing. And now that's all mapped. So now all we need to do is go back to our project. We need to save it, make sure everything's saved. We're going to do a build and run. There we go, all finished. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Please don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. Thanks, bye.